All right. Hello, everybody. We are live from Steel Buffalo Motors, and I'm with Ben Maccabee right here. Um, Steel Buffalo Motors is a true bike shop. They service anything from e-bikes to Vespas, from Triumph to Harley Davidson, Yamaha to Indian Motors, and everything in between. Most importantly, they have played an important part, if not the most important part, in reviving Indian motorcycles for our day. So that's their specialty. The place is also, in so many ways, a modern day shrine to Steve McQueen and other Hollywood greats. And of course, that's not a coincidence. Indian Motors being handmade, American made, were Steve McQueen's favorite. And it's really a great place where you feel that spirit of American enterprise. So I'm really happy to be here with Ben. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm good. How you doing? Yeah, Indian motorcycles, also the first American bike, established in 1901, and has a great history through the racing days, civil days, and military days, and to the year of 1953 when they shut their doors down.
By the way, guys, if you can't hear us for whatever reason, please don't hesitate to write. Speaking of which, I know that you have restored that great World War II era.
Yeah, Second
Indian.
World War Indian was brought in from Switzerland. This is my second one, actually. One of them was sold to a youngster, probably is 29 years old, very successful in the investment industry. And we sold him our 1941 Sweden import bike, a relic that is just sitting in his living room as a tribute to those days. This shop is also tributed to the greatest generation, um, Second World War generation. As you know, we lost over 480,000 troops fighting the Nazi war machine. And it's been always a part of my life. And fast forward to the Forgotten War of Korea, and absolutely Vietnam is one word that I disagree with, that I think it was a waste of generation, of a brilliant generation.
So in many ways, the primary idea, the primary drive of this joint, of this, it's really like a museum, is a tribute to American heroism, American sacrifice.
Ridiculously patriot. That's who I am. And I think that somebody has to show it and dedicate it to that generation. Um, so yeah, when I opened the shop,
When was that, by the way?
this location was open the eve of COVID. Believe it or not, is a fine line between brave and stupid. And I signed the lease on that eve.
On that line, that was the dotted line of the lease.
Yes, I'm like asking myself, seriously? But I guess that's where the passion comes, and your determination and your personality kicks in. See, being a soldier, I never had a choice. I always had to jump in and do what I had to do. So I guess that became my nature. I don't ask questions. It has to be done. It has to be done. So when I opened that location, I said to myself, it would be a great opportunity to just implement everything in this shop. So, of course, it's the Americana. Of course, it's the American history and what it's all about. So, I started with my Indian motorcycles. I had a extensive collection that instead of being in my garage, I said I'm going to display it here and make it like a museum. But you got to support that museum. So I enlisted my bachelor degree in automotive engineering and I opened a section for repairs, service, custom, and major work on motorsport, on motorcycle engines.
You
And
have you have a lot of opportunity to grow as well, I think, in that way, because this is a place that really brings all those threads together, right? It is like a museum. It has an incredible atmosphere, and whenever Ben gets busy, guys, I will be taking you around and showing you a little bit, because even on Sunday this guy works.
yeah,
So there's no stop to that. As customers trickle in, we will have to break things up, and I will show you around some of the
that'll be
fascinating
great.
things here. Bikes, outfits, the photographs, and other sorts of memorabilia. I mean, Ben is so crazy that he has a space heater that was once used by
Steve
the King
McQueen.
of Cool
Yeah,
himself. So I
yeah,
want to actually ask you about that, because as it happens, we are wearing watches that are tied to Steve McQueen. I'm wearing a OG Submariner, no date. You're wearing a Hoya Monaco,
yeah.
which is what he wore during the filming of Le Mans in 1972. How does it all tie in to Steve McQueen? Where did your fascination with Steve McQueen first start?
I gotta credit it to my dad. He loved Steve McQueen, and as a child, he would tell me, because I always told him I'm going to be a movie star in America, and he said, if you're going to be a movie star in America, Mickey Mouse. That's what he called me, Mickey Mouse. It can't be less than Steve McQueen, but that's fine. That was as I was a kid. So, um, but something weird happens
But
with
that's
Steve
classic.
McQueen.
That's classic parenting, no?
Oh,
He has to give you the right encouragement, but he has to cut you down to size at the same time,
well, he definitely did. I never spoke about it ever again. And
because he called you Mickey Mouse.
he called me a Mickey Mouse, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to talk about me wanting to be an actor. I'm just going to dream it, and when the time is right, I'm going to go ahead and make it come true.
And true story, guys. Ben Maccabee is always an actor, and a great one, from
Thank you,
whom I keep learning every day.
thank you. So yeah, I came right after the military. I came to the States. I was with the IDF, and I remember when I finished my service, my chief in command's telling me, "Why don't you sign up with us and have a military career?" Which I was very intrigued by the military, and you send me to Zimbabwe, I'll become a patriot in Zimbabwe. So I was a patriot in Israel, and I'm a patriot here. Um, so for the first time, actually second time, I stood with my uniforms and I told them I'm going to be a movie star in America. And he looked at me and said, "What?" I said, "Yep, that's where I'm headed." A week later, I hop on the plane and headed to Los Angeles. And yeah, it was all planned out for me. And whatever I wrote down and said I'm going to do, I did. And that was 1988. 1992, I was already on a TV show, Knights and Warriors. I was one of the Warriors. In 1994, I was contracted for 4 feature films, playing the lead. I'm like was like the new import, like Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, So I was contracted on 4 films. I went on through a divorce with a little child. So lesson to be learned: when you are engaged in a dream and you want to make things come true, you have to have consistency. I had it at 95%. When I got divorced, thing kind of slowed down. And I pretty much was like a single parent. He has a great mother, but she remarried and all that. So I took over. And in 2005, I was playing the lead for a breakthrough show for the History Channel, uh, Hannibal the Conqueror. So I played Hannibal. And then I directed and wrote 2 films and been doing it
I
since.
like that casting. You know, they took an Israeli Jew
To play Hannibal.
I mean, it makes sense.
I was
Phoenician,
honored, man. I was honored.
Mediterranean.
I was so honored because
Hey, Joaquin.
I did a bit role on one of their shows, and 2 years later they called me and said, "We would like you to read for Hannibal." And I'm like, "Hannibal Lecter, the cannibal?" And she said, "Oh, you're so silly. No, Hannibal the Conqueror." And I was like, "That'd be great." And I didn't have an agent back then. So I go into Warner Brothers, their lot, and there's a lineup of 300 gladiators. I'm not bullshitting you, at least 300 of them. If there's an exaggeration, it's by a small number. And I walk in.
You're too honest for your own good sometimes, man.
I'm stupid, man. So stupid. So I'm standing in line, and I said, "Do we register anywhere?" I said, "Yeah, oh yeah, you go down there and give your name and thank you." No, I'm good. Thank you so much. This is Joaquin. Joaquin, say hi. Is one of the boys that are working for me.
Just look into the camera right there. Come down. Thank you.
All the other boys are on day off today. Joaquin is the only one that comes to work on Sunday. I love that boy. Reminds me of me when I was young.
Yeah.
Dude, I look like
except,
that.
Except much more handsome.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't in the handsome category. That is true. Okay, take it easy, okay? So, yeah, so I said, where do I register? So, oh, yeah, go down there. So I go, and I think the girl's name was Sarah. She said, yeah. So I'm here to reach for Hannibal. She said, your name? I said, Ben Maccabee. So, oh, Ben Maccabee, come in with me.
You are Hannibal already.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So, but when I mentioned my name, she said, oh, they're already waiting for you. I'm like, waiting for me. I'm looking at those guys. I'm like, I walk in, director, writer, producer, everyone, and Karen, the girl that called me in, say, hi, Ben, how's it going? I'm like, good. And the director was very rude. He takes the script, he throws it on the table. He said, okay, go ahead. I'm like, what? Said, you're Hannibal. Read the lines. This is fucking hilarious. I took the script, opened it, and there was the Alps scene where he tells the soldiers that they have to go over the Alps and attack Rome, and 40,000 elephants. 40,000. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I'm thinking about it. So I take the script and I said, now that we are standing here, we are going to attack the Romans and go over the mountain, and we attack them and we kill them all.
So you had a stronger accent then? Is that what
I did it on purpose.
Okay.
He looks at Karen and said, what the fuck? I said, you're right. I took the script and I threw it out. He said, what's wrong with you, man? I said, listen, man, you called me in. You want me to read for the part? I think you're being disrespectful. I mean, the attitude I had. They said, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Do you need a couple of minutes? I said, that's right. That's great. I need a couple of minutes. Already I took charge of that room. And oh, look at me, oh, that guy's crazy. So I look at it and
Which
I
is still
said
the
the
case,
lines
by the way.
and tributed to Mel Gibson and Braveheart because there's no other way to do it. That's the way to talk to your troops when you going on a battle. I mean, they're all scared, they're all shaky. Some of them wants to fight, some of them just want to run. So you need to give them the adrenaline. And I did that, which is typical. He said, oh, yeah, that's great, Mr. Maccabee. I said, yeah. Let me ask you a question. I said, yeah. You just killed 80,000 Roman. What's your reaction? And I just looked at him. Your reaction, Mr. Maccabee. I looked down, looked at him again, and I didn't say a word. He said, that's your reaction? I said, yeah. I said, why? I said, well, victory is humble. You don't jump and say, hey, I just killed everyone. And my second concern was, I just awakened the sleeping giant. I'm fucked. Ellie, I swear to God, he tapped on the table like that, said, that's my Hannibal. And she told him, I told you. And next thing you know, I was shooting Hannibal, which is if I don't do another role ever again, I did the best role ever.
I mean, what always fascinates me about your craft is you have this very natural, uncontrived way of entering the story almost immediately. Like you said, you need a few minutes, but not more than that. 2-3 minutes, you take a look at it and you are suddenly entering, and in a very specific way, that character's psyche. And I find that admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. And you got to take, in real life, what I do, I observe life and me in it. So when I do a character, there's a story. Like I told you prior, words are last. It's a journey. It's love. It's where was I? Where am I? And where am I going? These are the three keys you need to use as a character. And you have to have a tremendous respect for the writer. I don't care if he's a shitty writer. He took the time to write a script. So then words and descriptions in the script, it comes out of an experience or out of a concern or out of something that he witnessed. And you got to dress yourself with that and bring yourself to the character and become the character. And the number one thing is, it ain't going to be a character if you don't listen to the other character. If there's a character talking to you and you're thinking about your lines, okay, now it's my turn to talk, which is a common thing. They always say there's a good actor and there's a great actor. I'm not going to say I'm a good actor or a great actor, but I know one thing. When I walk into the casting office, when I read for a role, I know whether I got it or not, I know I knocked them down.
But the thing that you're saying about acting and about good actors, about the difference between good actors and great actors, I think that's not only an actor's problem. And let me clarify what I mean. I think there are a lot of people, when they are in a conversation, they're more interested in what they're going to say next rather than actually listening to the person in front of them. So I think what you're describing is not an actor's problem, but about precisely something we can all experience if we get carried away with this self-centered attitude.
Yes.
Without opening ourselves up to the people we are facing.
Ever notice when people talk, people jump in and want to express their thoughts? I am totally opposing it. Even now, when we talk, I listen to you when you talk. I can light my cigar, I can do whatever, but I'm engaged in listening to you. So I'm going to let you finish your. Go check him out. Oh,
Yeah.
you're on your lunch break? Yeah. Okay.
But by the way, guys, I'm trying to watch the chat from the phone as well, so that's why I'm sometimes preoccupied with that. So I hope you understand. And by the way, Ben doesn't seem to be so loyal to his brand, but I am actually smoking one of his cigars, Steel Buffalo, among other things that we talked about in terms of creating this really historic atmosphere in terms of specializing in the repair
I'll be right
and
back.
selling off bikes.
How you doing?
It also has
How
apparel.
can I help you?
It also has all sorts of accessories, and it of course
I'm very
has,
nice to meet you.
like any
What are you
manly
writing?
shop should, its entire
Oh, yeah.
line of cigars
I love
that
it.
are produced for the brand in the Dominican Republic. I'm smoking one of those in the Gordito size, perfect dog walker size, perfect kind of cigar
Anytime.
for
Anytime.
about 45
Anytime, bro.
minutes.
That's our specialty,
Well,
actually.
it got stolen.
You stole it?
No, it got stolen.
Yeah. It got stolen?
Yeah, out of my parking spot, so I ended up not coming back.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
I thought you said stall. I'm like, what?
No, it got stolen. Yeah.
So let
What
me
the
greet some
fuck,
of you
man?
who have just
That's crazy.
come in.
I think people just come and like.
So nice to see you. I see you, Whiskey Reaper, and I see
Yeah.
you are smoking 60 range.
That's a great triumph,
60
I
ring
love
gauge
that bike,
Maduro
man.
cigar. Wow,
If you needed service or
Nice.
anything, let us know.
that's a
Yeah,
manly
you guys
cigar.
did
I'm
a
just smoking
yearly,
something
like,
small,
Everything.
as I
Everything.
mentioned,
Yeah.
just
That's
a
our specialty,
gordito.
man.
And
What's
thank
the,
you
what does it
for
cost just to do the, like,
your
$3.90
support for
major,
the stream.
but we do
Guys,
everything.
please don't
From the
hesitate
belt
to hit that like
to
button.
transmission,
Let's get this up.
clutch,
Junior
oil
Johnson
change,
says
spark
it sounds
plugs.
good. I'm glad
If you guys
for
wanna check,
once
like,
I
brake
got
clearance and
the
stuff,
Yeah.
sound to work
Yeah, of
properly.
course.
Chili
I've had it
Badger
about almost a year
picking
now,
up
so I'll
on
be-
our
Isn't it
conversation
great?
on Steve McQueen says Steve McQueen
It has
wore
that old
a Ben Russ
Hollywood
alarm
feel to it.
watch in
Yes,
Bullets.
it's fun because
What a movie.
there are a lot of,
What
like,
a
older
movie.
guys
As you guys
and older
know,
ladies, too, who will come
Bradley
by,
Cooper
cross
has
country,
been
like,
knocking
brings
these
back memories,
things
like,
out of the
that's cool.
park,
That's really
and
cool.
he is, I think,
know, I,
involved in a remake of Bullets,
Been fixing old
which
bikes
I'm actually
and dealing with
very happy
every
to
sector of
hear.
riders. Triumphs and
Whiskey Reaper says,
Japanese
have
bikes.
some sugar next to your Brando. That
The
cigar
best.
will hit if you aren't used to it. I'm perfectly
No,
used
I mean
to it.
the
Actually, I
riders.
smoke way too
Awesome
many
people.
per
I mean,
week
I ride Indians,
to
which are also
for my
great
own
guys.
good.
But when it comes to the Harley bullshit,
Laura Connor is in the chat. Whiskey Reaper
yeah,
greets
that's
her.
not us.
Robert Wood, it's so nice
Look
to
at this
see
one.
you.
That's
Our
the R.
regards to
That's
Austin.
the R.
Good afternoon.
1200.
I really, when I got that, I was trying to debate between
Basil is here.
this or the,
Nice to see you. Jay
1200X.
Gray,
I would get
lovely
this.
to see you as well.
You got the right one.
And GB
Not too
Val.
fast, not
Why
too
double
crazy,
audio? Because
and it's gorgeous.
Ben
You know?
is out there. If I
went for
if I
style.
turn the entire thing off,
I'll admit, I went for
How old are you?
we have to stay spontaneous because
Enjoy
it's
it, bro. Enjoy it.
you know,
Stop by
we do need
anytime.
to
You
pick
can
up
hang out.
something if
No problem.
there's something interesting.
Yeah, I'm just doing a TV show now, so we have two locations. This is going to be
So
strictly
let's see,
the
guys,
showroom
if I can
and
show you
custom
some
work.
stuff.
And the
from
location
here.
for services down the street. But you drop your bike here, and then we take it to the shop. All right, bro. So,
Oh, he's back, so we don't even have to walk around for now.
so we were saying, yeah, it's very important to listen. And once you listen, that's when your lines come out naturally. And there's a thing about that you get maybe a little nervous. So you use that nervousness and you apply it to the character. It's tricky, but once you know how to do it, you're fine. Yeah. So 2020, when COVID hit us hard, is like I said when I opened the shop, and I said, you know what? I'm kind of tired of Hollywood and the new wave. You know, every time people apologize for, not that I have anything against it, not that I was working on a huge show, multiple episodes, and somebody made one of the stars made a comment, and they came and asked me my opinion, and I just chose not to say my opinion, and I just realized that it's not fun being on the set anymore if you're not the major star. You're just a filler, and they're actually there's this thing that I didn't appreciate. So I said to my agent, I am taking a break. That was in 2020. I said, I'm taking a break. I want to focus on my bikes. I rejected like 10 jobs probably.
That's your water there, right? You have your.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Where's your?
The same one.
There's only one. But that's yours.
No, that's yours.
Okay, well,
It's all right. I have water.
I want to thank you. I want to focus on that moment as well, because when you step into this place, you realize immediately that you didn't give up on Hollywood. Maybe you gave up on Hollywood as it is now, but you have a lot of passion and a lot of commitment to what it once was, and perhaps that's where Steve McQueen comes into the story. I mean, going back to what your father said, maybe you are pushing against the Mickey Mouse version of Hollywood. Again, without being too harsh, I do want to be also politically correct, as you mentioned, in the sense that they seem to be much more interested in recycling and rebooting content. We were just mentioning Bullets. That's a positive example, of course, since it is coming back with an actor whom we both respect a great deal in Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, great actor.
But it seems there is the edge is somehow missing, right? The originality and authenticity seems to be lacking in most projects that come in, which are made for quick consumption, like fast food against a wholesome meal that we perhaps prefer.
I don't know. Fast food sends me to the bathroom, so I think I'm voting for fast food. Whenever I eat healthy, I'm like long way from the bathroom. We had that conversation.
We did. We had that experience, perhaps even.
Yeah, we did actually. That's why we didn't do the show. That was hilarious, man.
So why did you choose to erect this as a shrine to Steve McQueen? Does it just go back to what your father said, or did you have a more immediate impulse, or did it just come naturally while you were building up?
I know it's going to sound far-fetched, and it's going to sound, okay, that guy's delusional.
Well, you are kind of delusional.
Yeah, okay. I am. But I think Steve McQueen chooses you. You don't choose Steve McQueen. And my past is very similar to Steve McQueen's past. See, my dad was in 3 wars, and now I know it was PTSD because back then they didn't know how to call it. And I was his punching bag. I was his. We were 4, but I was the one who's taking all the beating. And believe it or not, I don't see. I know it was wrong, but it made me what I am today. And when I was 14, I packed my bags, and I went to the youth agency, and I said, I'm going to boarding school. And they said, well, you need to bring your parents here to sign for you, and it cost a lot of money. I said, I'm not going to bring my parents here. And luckily, our neighbor that lived above us saw me and said, Ben, what are you doing here? I said, I'm going to boarding school. I don't know if this guy's still alive or not, but I think that guy saved my life because he looked at the agent and he told her, whatever this boy tells you, he's not lying. And by him saying that, they gave me the scholarship and they sent me to boarding school. So I was in boarding school. It was very tough.
And incidentally, that's where you first started being trained as a mechanic, right?
Exactly. So they entered me in a program which gets you your bachelor degree while you, before you enlist to the military, they give you another year, and then you get your bachelor degree right before you enter the military. So I got my bachelor degree, and it was tough. Boarding school wasn't easy. And then I went to the military, and then came here. But yeah, that's pretty much talking about the past. Similar history. But Steve McQueen showed up in my life again. I did a movie, my first movie, Enter the Blood Ring, my first one of the 4 that I signed. Tom Newworth was the director. Great guy. Old school American. Very good looking guy. And when I was doing one of the scenes, he came and he told me, you really remind me of Steve McQueen, the way your method. Back then, I didn't pay much attention to it. I was young, I was wild, I wanted to conquer the world. But like I said, Steve McQueen shows up in your life. The third time he showed up in my life, it was just out of nowhere. And it became a way of life. It became part of my life. And I went to one of the shows, and his son came to me and started talking to me.
We're talking about Chad
McQueen started talking to me. And I was with my son, Achilles. And we became very good friends. And I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to impose or call you or, hey, let's hang out, because it might look like I want to get something out of you. So I keep very private. But that's what Chad liked. And he would call me, and we started he started that charity event at Chino, where Steve McQueen went to boarding school, where every year he has a car show, and each year is a different theme of Steve McQueen's movies.
It's amazing.
And I found myself buying the Bullet, the car, and it became the second famous Bullet in the United States. I no longer have it. After 22 years, I sold it. It was a great offer, and I needed the money for the business, so I sold it. But knowing me, it should come back one day.
Yeah, I'm just thinking now to the most recent story of your yellow truck coming back, which
Isn't that amazing?
Which you were just stenciling, the
motorcycles
recently when I came here.
But you have to understand, I bought them both at the same time. And my truck's name was Junior Bonner, named after Steve McQueen's movie, and Sam Peckinpah, which is my favorite director. So thank you. So I sold it 7 years ago.
We're talking about the
Ford
truck.
The Ford truck. Junior Bonner. My friend really wanted it. I sold it to him. And 7 years later, he's like, hey, you want your truck back? I think she wants to go back home. I said, yeah. That was amazing. It was amazing.
So maybe the Bullet car will come back.
She'll come back
as well.
I'll have to pay a lot of money for it, but you'll come back.
That's great.
The guy who bought it for me was so happy with it.
You know, this also, you know, like you said, it is a natural connection to McQueen, who famously said, you know, I don't quite know whether I'm a racer who acts or an actor who races, right? You know, so there's that double bind of being both a petrol head and an actor.
And that's my history. Since I was 4 years old, I love machinery. I raced for over a decade. When I got married again, that's where I kind of slow it down. But I live it. This is my life. I mean,
Would it be too much to ask for you to show that racing jacket you have
Yeah.
that is modeled after?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you pull it from
Yeah,
there, or
I
can
will.
you pull it?
I'll bring it.
Okay, and you can show us your Monaco as well at the
Yeah.
same time. All right, guys, this is an amazing piece.
It's all right.
It is actually a racing jacket that's styled exactly after the famous one that Steve McQueen wore with the Gulf petrol livery. So you'll be happy to see it. And it has the chain stitched name as well, with, of course, Ben's name in this case.
No. You didn't get yourself a drink?
I asked for a couple of
Go get yourself
Again,
something to
thank
drink.
you guys for your support.
Oh, no, give me two also.
Feel free to hit that like button.
just the
Share the
Comfort.
link with others if you have other channels, other platforms to share.
Wait,
And
I don't think it's going to be enough.
if you have any
It's not
questions
going
to
to be
Ben,
enough.
feel free to send them in with
I
super
want
chats.
the soda
That'd be
water with lemon in it
Really great.
from Compass. Here, take the card. Keep this.
Oh, it's here. And all right,
Still dirty.
it's okay. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
guys see it has the same chain stitch style
Yeah.
signature for Ben Maccabee, of course.
Yeah.
The Gulf Oil International livery, Firestone
And
tires, of
Tug
course,
Heuer.
and of course Hoya chronographs,
Yeah.
and Le Mans, of course, right?
Come on, and then you have the A to Z racer
And of course
and this.
the Stars and Stripes.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So if you talk to Brad Pitt or Mark Wahlberg, they would swear by McQueen, and they also think it's delusional. But the events that took place with me and McQueen are just unbelievable. The dreams I had, and then I had a dream once that I'm playing poker with Steve McQueen. It's crazy. James Garner, Steve McQueen, and a couple of other actors are playing poker. There comes Charlie Bronson, walks into the apartment, and he just go to the corner of the room and he crouches and he just look. And I'm like asking him, what's his story? And he say, yeah, he's weird. He's just like that. He literally sat like this in the corner of the apartment and watching. Fast forward.
That sounds like someone we know,
Yeah.
one of your friends.
Yeah. But that was weird. So fast forward, I'm sitting at a cigar club with the late George Papas, producer, that was did the movie with Frank Sinatra. Tony, he played a detective. Forgot the name of the movie, but so we're talking about old Hollywood, and Papas tells me, you know, who was weird? I said, who? Charles Bronson was so weird. I said, why? Are you ready for this, Sally? We were playing poker one day, and he walks into the apartment, and he crouches on the corner of the apartment. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, he was weird. I said, Papas, I had a dream like that. He said, really? I said, I literally played, oh, Lee Marvin. I'm playing poker with the guys, and there comes Charlie Bronson and crouches right in the corner of the apartment. That was fucking weird, man.
It is.
A lot of stories that I'm blown away by. I do think there's a connection. I do think there's when the spirit is still out there, unrested, they live themselves through other people, you know. And when Brad Pitt talks about it, people think he's weird. Mark Wahlberg won't start a scene without actually saying a prayer to Stephen McQueen. And when they ask him, they don't know how to explain it. I experienced the same thing. There's so many coincidences, so many events that took place. I went to a book signing with his wife, first wife, Neil. And she looked at me, and I was young and handsome once. And she said, you know, I have another son. And my son's next to me. He's like, what do you mean? He said, I thought you're my son. Because Chad and I, we have kind of this similarity of facial. You know, he's smaller than me. I'm a little, but so many things that took place with McQueen that I experienced now with my nephew, my late nephew. That's why I think there's a connection. You know, my nephew shows up and gives me signs all the time.
Yeah, Adi.
Adi, yeah, he was the love of my life, and he passed away, overdose. There was this one boy. Adi was he was literally a king. He could have done anything he wanted. I think he got bored with this world, and he dozed himself out. In my opinion, I don't think he found his place in this world. He was too enlightened. He was selfless, 100% a giver. And yeah, this is one boy that I really miss.
I'm so sorry. But you know, he's here. He's one of the people in your, you know, behind your back there who are keeping your back or
Yeah,
watching
he
over
was
you.
a mini me. He was a mini me. It was
And your
a man's man, you know.
your little son is named after him.
I named my little one after him. Yeah, Adi Joshua. Yeah,
And of course you have three.
I have Harel. The little one is 3-year-old. Harel is 7. Harel is totally what I looked like when I was a kid. And I got Achilles, the rebel. He's 27 years old.
Yeah, I think they all, you know, the way you describe them, I only had the privilege and the chance to meet Achilles so far, but the way you describe them, it seems they have taken certain parts of your personality and somehow cloned it.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The Harel is the brave one. I mean, you put him on a 9th floor, he'll jump. He doesn't care, which is not good news. But the little one is more bossy, like my younger brother. He reminds me of my younger brother, but his strength, his demeanor, you know. Achilles is what I wish to be. Yeah, Achilles is
That's
a
high praise.
very unique individual. The triple C's, you know, cool, calm, collective. Uh, he's my voice of reason because I'm very, you know, very passionate, and he's more cool, you know, like calm about things.
Triple C, the new champion, Carlos Alcaraz, has a tattoo with Triple C, but in his case, it's cabeza, corazón, and cojones. So that's also a nice
That's a good one.
echo with your personality as well. You have the mind, you have the heart, and you have the balls.
Yeah, I was called the Triple C by Marnie Saida. Thank you. Marnie Satya. Marnie Satya is the casting director for Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
And I read for them like probably 4 times a No Cigar. And again, you come in, there's a bunch of guys, and they're all very good. I always like to think that when you make it to the casting office, you're good. I don't care if you booked the job or not. The fact that they called you and you walked in and read for them, that's half of the job. So I always have respect for actors in the casting office. I don't have that thing of like, he doesn't know, whatever. I look at him with tons of respect. So I went to read for them for 4 times, No Cigar. And the 5th time, my agent tells me, yeah, they want you to read for a role. I'm like, great. So the fact that they're calling you, it's a good thing. If they don't call you after the first time, thank God that wasn't my experience. I always been called back for others. So I walk into the office at Olive in Burbank. I think it's NBC. And I go into their building, and there's no one there. I'm calling my agent. I say, listen, man, I think they moved. So what do you mean? I said, there's no one here. I said, just go into the office. I said, oh, I'm going to go, but I'm telling you, there's no one there. And I walk in, and I'm like, hello? And Marnie from her office, hey, Ben. I'm like, okay. How you doing, Ben? I said, where's everybody? He said, I don't need everybody. I need you today. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know my lines? I said, I know your lines, yeah. Okay, let's do it. First take, we're doing it. Okay, that's great. Let's do it this way now. Oh, that's great. Let's do it this way now. Oh, that's great. Okay, have a seat. So I'm sitting down. She said, when people think that tough guys are the guys that are yelling and they're fist fighters and this and that. She says, see, I grew up in New York, and tough guys don't talk. She said, and you, whenever I called you for a role, you're always that Triple C. And I'm like, she said, cool, calm, and collective. I said, that's a tough guy. That's a guy that I know will do a good job protecting John Aniston, Jennifer Aniston's dad,
Right.
as the character.
You were playing one of the henchmen of that character.
I started as a henchman, and then I moved to become his main guy, Hector. And I have Greek language knowledge in me, so we would have some scenes that we were talking Greek.
Okay.
And when she was done, she said, so I said, what does it mean? She said, you got the role. Welcome to the family.
Great.
I'm like, wow. I was so fucking happy. I said, Marnie, you made my day. She said, yeah, well deserved, man. Now she has a scar here. I think she spilled hot water on herself by mistake. So she has a scar. But for the first time, I pulled my shirt off. And I said, Marnie, I got a scar too. And she looked at me, we started talking about the scars,
And of course, you were in better shape then. I'm sure you were trying to show more than a scar, but let's not talk too much about that.
Why you have to push the issues, man? So yeah, it was
Just for entertainment purposes.
and Days of Our Lives. I'm going to tell you one thing: working on a set, that's where you want to work.
I mean, I think people don't understand. You know, they have all sorts of prejudices against these kinds of roles. But that's the kitchen. You know,
Let me tell you something.
that's where the raw work is being done.
Denzel Washington came out of it, and several other actors. And if you're an actor in a soap opera, that means you're a great actor. I don't care what people say, because you got to hit it right on. Not only that, you have to be have an imagination, how to portray the character or how to connect scenes. Um, and I'm telling you, those guys,
And it's also hard work. It's production over and over. It's regular. It's
no, if you have 3 takes on a soap opera,
that's already too much. Right?
you're really wasting their time. You got to be dead on
Every time.
every time. You can't take your time. It's not an improv, but it's that pace.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but they do want to see your Monaco as well. I know you talked about this in my channel before, and you know this is a watch channel. After all, we are here. This is. Tell us the story of this Monaco again. I know you have summed it up beautifully before, but how did this particular watch come to you?
When I turned 50, my wife threw a party for me, and it was a Cafe Roma, and she brought me the box, and that was my dream watch. I always wanted to have that watch. I had the other special edition one, limited edition one, and that's why I was like, shit, I should have taken the Monaco, the blue face.
The OG.
The OG,
original,
yeah. And my wife bought it for me for my 50th. It's the greatest gift, man. I don't take it off. It used to have a leather, what do you call it?
Leather strap.
Leather strap. But I think that this gives it more massiveness. You know,
You're a fan of the bracelet. I know. I figured that.
I love the bracelet. It took me a while to
I'm
find
more
it.
of a leather strap guy, but you know,
I like
understand.
the bracelet. I think it's
You like the
it
heft.
justified the watch.
Yeah, you like the heft. You like
Yes.
the presence.
Yes. I'm also a big fan of Seiko's.
Yeah. Well,
My
you know,
Arnie one.
that was one of my biggest projects. I still want you to dig out that original watch, but tell us about that, the classic Arnie Seiko that he famously wore in the movie and then became I think I always forget, but it was in the Commando that he wore it
Commando
mostly.
and Predator.
Yeah, in both of them that he wore.
But I was wearing that watch.
Okay, well, let's start there. You love Seikos, you love Hoyas, almost in equal measure.
Yes.
How did you end up with that Seiko in the first place? With the Arnie?
I came to visit my parents here. I took 30 days vacation from the military because as a lone soldier, they give you that privilege of going and visit your parents overseas.
Okay.
And I went to the mall and I bought the watch. Not knowing that Arnie...
on a visit from
Yeah,
Israel
yeah,
to the United States.
yeah. Not knowing that Arnold is planning on wearing it. So I was wearing it in the military. It was a perfect match for what I was doing and having this watch on, you know. And I'm like, yeah, wow. Then sure enough, I see Arnold wearing it in Commando. And I'm like, shit, I got the same watch. And you got me the water? You got the water?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Right next to you.
Yeah, it's right there, man.
Oh, you have a straw?
Next to you.
Thank you, kid.
Oh, you dropped it. You're almost stepping on it. The straw.
Okay, so let's kid, let's see. I'm sorry, Ali. Let's put an order here. So I want all these be there, but
This is the
nicely
watch we
done.
are talking about, guys.
Okay. And
The famous Seiko
instead of all over the
Arnie.
place, you know,
So we're
in
gonna
its
have to, like,
original form, and
by the
in
way
the
it is,
later
but make it look good. You know,
reissue. It's one of
everything in
the,
boxes.
yeah.
of course, one of the iconic watches that have been associated with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ben Maccabee as well. Come back.
So yeah, I had that watch for shit. Wow.
So you
That's a
You-
30
you were
year,
wearing- you were
30,
wearing-
40, 30, oh, over 30 years now.
you were wearing that watch when you were serving in the IDF.
Yes. Yes. They actually called me Arnold because I mean, Israeli soldiers are not that big, so I was an odd looking soldier. But then again, it was amazing.
And just like your Monacos, you have a couple of those watches, right? You have more than one.
Yeah.
You have your original one, which you wore in
Yeah.
the IDF, and then you
It's
have.
broken. It's non-functional. I have to bring it.
Yeah, please.
You see it, it's
please.
totally
I
fucked
want to
up.
do a quick short of that.
Yeah,
a
it's
1 minute video.
It's old. It's so old. And then I always said, with a bike, it's all right. And I always said to myself, this is probably Seiko's most successful watch, most beautiful watch. Why they don't do it again? Sure enough,
They brought it back.
They brought it back. I have like 3 of them. And in case they're going to run out of business, I'm going to have 3 of them, you know.
I mean, Seiko is never running out of
I
business.
know, but you
think.
know,
they have a
man,
good business model.
I'm a little slow. Yeah, so.
Well, now that we started talking about Arnie the watch, we can talk about perhaps Arnie the guy. I think you have met him in the past.
Oh yeah, I know him very well. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He speaks English like everybody else. Yeah, he goes to auditioning and everybody tell you have an accent. I said, look who's talking. You have an accent too.
Okay. Actually, can you tell us that specific story?
Yeah.
About his accent.
Arnold went to audition to meet Dino De Laurentiis,
The famous Italian producer.
And he goes in there and they really want him to play Conan, but Dino doesn't want him to play Conan. So Dino looks at him when he walks in, and this is, dude, I mean, you know me. I'm like that. I'm a big mouth. I mean, if somebody says something not right, I'll attack right away. I have no problem, no shame. Arnold has that, and he walks in, and Dino De Laurentiis looks at him and said, oh my God, you have such an accent. You would play a con. And Arnold looks and said, yeah, look who's talking. I have an accent. Look at the accent you have. Dino De Laurentiis kicked him out of the office. That's the funniest thing, man. Yeah, look who's talking. I have an accent. Who the hell you have? You have an accent too. Yeah, get out. Kicked him out.
Guys, so if you have heard me previously trying to come up with an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, that's where it comes from. I'm learning from the best and trying to give it my own spin.
Yeah, I trying to use that accent in one of the commercials I was doing, and they told me, no, you can't do that. You just leave it alone. I'm like, okay, no problem. Yeah.
Apparently, he was around earlier on Saturday. I missed him. I came in too late to Nazareth, so I missed out. But
I almost fucked it up with him.
what's up?
I almost messed it up with him. Because
what
I'm sitting at the cigar club, and it says, anyone hungry? And they go, yeah. Well, so I'm calling Cafe Roma. I mean, it's like just across from us. Yeah, how you doing? She's like, this is the governor.
You were pulling a prank on Cafe Roma in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. And
you called them as
Arnold.
Okay.
Yeah, how you doing? It's like, yes, this is the governor. How you doing? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And she's like, oh, Mr. Schwarzenegger, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, hi, how you doing? And I said to her, I'd like to reserve some tables for tonight. She said, oh my God, yes, sure, no problem, Mr. Governor. How many of you? 500. She's like, excuse me. And I start cussing. What is wrong with that guy? Why is he cussing at me? She dropped the phone. Now I don't know that Arnold is outside. She drops it, she runs out and she goes to attack Arnold. And he's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? It's like, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. And she started yelling. And he doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And then they hugged and took photos together. And then she found out later on that I'm the one who did that. It was fucking hilarious, man. It was so funny. Well, it wasn't funny at that moment because I was kind of worried that Arnold would walk in to Naz and
To do
ask him what
something
the hell
to
is going on because the number shows up. You know?
Oh wait, you used Mr. Nazareth's phone to
No.
pull? Okay.
No. That's why I was worried. Maybe they're going to come and check it out, but it wasn't Naz's phone. So at the moment, I didn't think about it. You know? Arnold is a hell of a guy, man. He's another boy that I
Yeah.
seriously
No,
second to none.
he's an icon. I mean,
Second to
like
none.
you put it many times, he's like the embodiment of the American dream in so many ways.
You know, I watched his documentary on Netflix, which was excellent. Again, it's like I'm watching me. This is exactly how I was. And where he did it better than I did was he was disconnected from his emotions.
Mm.
His dad treated him like shit. I used to tell my mom. It's funny, when I watched the show, I'm like, what the fuck? I used to tell my mom, are you sure I'm his son? Well, it sure doesn't look like it. I said, what do you mean? I said, I'd rather have Steve McQueen as my dad, to be honest with you. I'm watching Arnold's Netflix program, and it's like, he told his mom, I'm sure you did it with a GI because this is not my dad. He was abused big time.
Yeah.
But I always wanted my dad's love, even when I was older,
Of course.
you know, but he disconnected himself. Said, hey, he doesn't like me. I don't like him. I didn't have that. I was very attached. And I believe that's where I didn't get to greatness because I was too emotional about things. I was too connected instead of just drop it.
Well, I mean, the example of Arnold, I think, also shows you that there is more than one way to be great, right? He made it as an athlete, as a bodybuilder. He made it as a movie star. He made it as a politician, you know, practically getting to the highest seat that he could get as a naturalized citizen. And then, you know, he's still out there, you know, as a political activist.
But who's his best friend now? A donkey. He has a fucking donkey as his best friend. What the hell he's doing with the donkey? The donkey comes and he feeds him carrots. You guy's
He has a good
crazy.
sense of humor.
What's wrong with this guy?
But yeah, I mean, you know, you are great in your own way, and
Yeah.
there's still so many different ways where you can continue to be great as a family man, as a father, of course, but also as a businessman.
Yeah.
And as an actor, you know, there's not
Yeah.
much.
I have
not one way off.
Yeah, I have no remorse. I have no regrets. Anything I planned out and lined up for myself, I did. Um, if it didn't go to distance, for whatever reason, it's because of me, not because of the outside. It's because of me. I'm the one who actually chose to say, you know what, something else. You know what, let's do this. Yeah. But in my acting career, I accomplished everything except winning the Academy Award. But you know, it's never too late. I'm still young.
You're right. You
You
are
know,
young.
So maybe it'll come. It does come back, and thanks to you, actually,
How's it thanks to me?
because you kept just to practice scenes with you guys,
Yeah.
and that was like totally erased from my book. And I thank you for that because I'm having the time of my life.
Well, I mean, I was going to say I'm sorry to have reeled you back in, but
No, I drove back from Reno yesterday and all the way to Reno, and I'm actually toying with the thought of maybe producing and directing a movie because as I was riding through those little towns, I'm like,
yeah, tell us about that, by the way, just to contextualize it for the audience. You just came back from basically a 20-hour
drive.
round trip, to Reno and back from here, Los
One
Angeles.
would
What
ask-
was that about?
One would ask why you do it when you can have somebody else do it for you.
This was to pick up a
Pick up an Indian bike.
pick
Yes.
up an Indian.
Yes. And that was a long ride, man. I mean, shit, 478 miles one way. So I took the 14 freeway, not freeway, it's a highway, it's not a freeway.
We were talking about that. I really want you to tell me about how you felt on that drive, going through these towns along the 14th.
So I started saying, one would say, why would you go? Okay, you have someone can bring it to you. I believe that you have to stay in touch with your roots and you can't get comfortable. You cannot get comfortable. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, you gonna stop by tomorrow? Oh, you fixing the stuff now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That kid throws me off every single time, man. He's too serious.
It's good.
So I'd like to stay rooted and not get comfortable. When you get comfortable, you missing out. And you have to be on guard, in my opinion, 24/7. It's exhausting, but if you chose something to do, there's only one way to do it. Is do it the best way you can. So, yeah, I rented a truck and hit the road. But also, when you get on the road, you bring new energy. You have time to think. You have time to smoke your cigar and listen to your music. And I also watch movies when I drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put it on YouTube, and I put it on the dash where the odometers and speedometers are, and then I would just watch a movie as I drive it. It's like reading a book, listening to a book, audio book.
Yeah.
So, but when I drove on that stretch, I went through several little towns that look nothing like where we at.
No.
So two thoughts. I had two thoughts in my mind. We should win the Academy Award for actually living in Los Angeles. It's the toughest town ever. There's nothing tougher than Los Angeles. You have to be on top of your game. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're an actor, you have to be on top of your game and stay on guard the whole time. Because it's so easy to fall into the temptations in this town, which is driving a nice car, buy a big house, and start paying your dues on daily basis, which in my opinion, it's modern slavery, and I'm guilty of it.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Totally guilty of it.
But I mean, I actually appreciate the self-awareness more than
Yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah. Totally guilty of it, and I think I'm paying my dues, and I learn from my mistakes. But when you go through these little towns, you actually see a general store. You actually see a little market, a little store for souvenirs. It's not corporate America, not at all. It's reminds me of the old country.
Yeah, almost an alternate universe, right? It's
It
it's
is.
a different possibility.
It is. So what it taught me that one, I chose to be here, so make the best out of it. And if you don't want to be here, move to a small town. Then you won't have all that anger and disappointments. You just live in a small town. You go to the coffee house in the morning. You see with the old people, and it's like, and dude, it looks like an old western town.
But the again, I'm going back to that advice you were giving subtly when you were talking about acting, and about channeling your emotions, right? You said it's, yeah, of course, it's okay to be nervous or anxious when you are auditioning for a role. It's about embracing what you're feeling and channeling it in the right way, right? It's about being conscious and aware of that and trying to find a way of putting that into your acting. And in the same way,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
You live in Los Angeles, so you are challenged, you're angry, you're anxious, you don't know what to expect from the future. But as long as you can be aware of that energy and channel it in the right way to your life, to your business, um, that's, you're already more than halfway there. No?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what it taught me also that, I was extremely conservative um, up to the end of term of Trump. I was extremely conservative, and I was like, that's the only way. What's wrong with this state? What the hell are they doing? I mean, but something happened. Um, I got sick, and I can tell you one thing. All the things that I thought about President Obama, there weren't healthy thoughts. It was anger, and here's a guy who's getting opportunity, and look what he's doing with it. But I gotta tell you something, man. I regret few things in my life, and one of them is not enjoying when Obama was a president.
So
Not enjoying it.
in retrospect, you appreciate
I
that
appreciate that boy
term.
more than anything. That boy wasn't a billionaire when he started, when he was a president. He came from a sector. He came from a lineup of society, or what I'm trying to say, he fought for the poor. He fought for the color. He fought for rights. And I thank you for actually having me. Of all what we talked about here, this is the most important thing for me. It dawned on me that Obama was, if not, I always like to think about Kennedy and Eisenhower as the greatest presidents. Even Bill Clinton was good. Um,
We might have a few
yeah,
disagreements there.
but there was a relaxation. We were
Yeah.
relaxed when Clinton was here. There was
Maybe
no
too,
animosity.
maybe too relaxed, I would say. But I don't want to keep you
Yeah.
off track. Please go ahead.
So I would say that Obama was, and mind you, I was a Trump guy, and that other idiot, forgive me, Bush, that I think he sold us the biggest scam ever, and I voted for it, and I regret it.
I'm not a fan of bushes in general. So
No, I thought he was a cool cat, believe it or not. I think Bush was a cool cat, but Bush should have not dragged us to Iraq. It was a big mistake.
well, we are in many ways circling back to where we started, right?
Yes.
That of course we have enormous respect for the heroism and sacrifice that the fallen and the veterans have given us to be able to enjoy our country, enjoy the freedoms in this country. On the other hand, it's not always for the right reasons that this country has been in war. And you mentioned Vietnam as an example from the past. And there are more recent examples, there are more recent involvements that have done enormous harm globally, but also here as well on the home front. And I think the so-called Second Gulf War, the Iraq War, was one of them. Not to justify the involvement in Afghanistan either, but that for me is a similar sore spot, because it may not have resulted in the same kind of human loss here. It did in those countries, but it has divided the country from within in a way that I feel we are still struggling with, right? And that's why it never sat right with me that people who were pushing against Trump in the same way were trying to valorize Bush and how good he was.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
what are you talking about? That's where
it started.
If you are facing against it, if you are antagonizing a particular point of view, that's where it began. But anyways, without politicizing it, because like you said, there are so many presidents in the past of this country that we can look more positively or more critically. But I'm glad you had that sort of transformation where you,
because that's who I am.
looked more honestly into how you were
Absolutely.
assessing a particular person.
I think that's what a leader does. A leader don't follow. And I think when I learned more about Obama, it dawned on me that boy made miracles here. I mean, look at the state of California. I couldn't stand it for a long while because I thought what they're doing is wrong. But now that I see, again, the relaxation, that's the bottom line. It's even on the freeways. People are not that mad. I mean, you don't see much police out there. Defund the police. You know what? I used to get mad at it. I respect the police. I support the police. But there was certain things that I didn't agree with them. I mean, because the boy wears a hoodie, you shoot him down. That was so painful for me to see when they do that. Or just because you have the authority, you start pulling over people and citing them. That's heavy, man. People are losing their minds like that. But now when you go on the freeway, it's relaxed. You don't see him every second. People are more relaxed. Racial, gays, lesbians, it's all accepted, which is fine. Why not? I always ask that question. What if you had a homosexual boy or a lesbian girl? Would you love him less? If you're stupid ass and messed up here, yeah, you would judge them by what they are. But I have no problems with it. And it dawned on me that, and now I'm in the motorcycle business, and the true core of riders are like hardcore Americans.
Sure.
Not fun riding with them, because I rode with a group of 70 guys. And all cool guys, the coolest cats. But their political views and their hate towards different is not acceptable in my book. And then it dawned on me that what Obama did here, nothing gives me more joy to see the Black community rising and making it and actually being treated with respect. Not that I'm saying we're better, we're not, but they were considered less.
No, I mean,
which I hated it.
It's very important, the openness that we have, at least in important parts of the country. I don't want to specify this state or that, but I think the openness, the friendship, the respect, the fact that we treat each other and everyone else equally with dignity, as our fellow citizens, as our fellow human beings, first and foremost. I think that's the most important thing, and that's what you achieve in your own business, in your own line of work, and that's what you exemplify for me. Beyond any political opinions or sides, beyond any party affiliations or whatever, that's what you exemplify for me. The openness, the respect, the humanity, and I really appreciate that.
The care. I mean, you're rich, so you're rich. I mean, I really don't need to help you. Middle class is the most important class, which we're still falling short on that. But at least the poor are being taken care of now.
I hope so. There, we can do better. I think overall,
Compared to what it was before, we're doing much better. So I'm telling you,
countrywide.
I got sick. I'm not poor, uh, but I went through some hard times. I got sick, and I would postpone the visitation because of my old.
I want to put a little stop here because people are appreciating what you are saying. Ali Reza, who is also a member of the channel, sent in a super chat 2444 in US dollars. Thank you, Ali. Good to see the show at Steel Buffalo Motors with Brando. Hope to see everyone back in the next few weeks. Good to hear the discussion on minority challenges in a masculine responsibility context. Well spoken.
Oh,
So I
thank
wanted to
you,
recognize that.
thank you. Wow, that means the world.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Ali.
And please continue. You were saying about the health challenges.
So
we
I would
face.
postpone my visitation because of the bill, but I'm programmed to the Bush era and prior to Bush. So it came down to a 0 hour. It was a Saturday, wee hours of the morning, which is Sunday actually.
Yeah.
I was in excruciating pain. I thought I'm going to die. I had to drag myself into the hospital.
And you're a drama queen, but this one was real.
No, when it comes to my pain, I'm not a drama guy. I just keep it quiet. And I'm like my wife, go, and I'm not
I'm
going.
just trying to pull your leg.
So I found myself in the emergency room at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's a beautiful Armenian doctor, uh, excellent guy. Send his nurse. I said, just take a report, see what's going on. She takes the report. He comes in, and I thought he's going to give me something. I'm going home. He sent me to do a CAT scan. I come back, and all I'm thinking about, shit, that's going to be like $300,000. That's going to be an enormous amount. I'm not saying a word. Come back. He comes and he says, well, Mr. Maccabee, you're going to stay with us for a little while. I'm like, I don't stay at hospitals. What are you talking about? He said, yeah, you have a problem with the gallbladder.
With
my gallbladder.
gallbladder.
And the nurse comes, and so she tells me, can you pay for it? I said, I don't think so. No problem. She brings a paper. Just fill it out. I'll submit it. Now, I'm telling you, from my past experience, just my, what do you call it? The part that you have to pay is an enormous number. I dropped out of the program because I couldn't afford it that particular time. She came back. She said, you're approved. I'm like, what does it mean? You don't have to pay anything.
So even the copay, you didn't have to pay.
And that's Obamacare for you. That's where Obama kicked in. And then
that's
I
where
up,
the gears started working in your
that
mind.
That fucking guy saved my life because I would not be able to do it. That fucking guy saved my life. And then I start looking around me and I see homeless people being taken care of, something that I never saw before. Now I see things on the signs on the hospital saying they cannot refuse service to you. You're sick, they have to take care of you. I haven't seen that before. I was in the hospital for over 2 weeks. I think the bill on that, probably over $1 million. And the state paid for it. So it woke me up. And I said, fuck the conservative bullshit. You know how I am, right? Yeah. You know how I am. I'm like, then I
I
understood.
disavow, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Then I understood that what is happening here in California should be all over the country. Things will be much better. And I started to love California again and started to support what they're doing. For example,
I think again, for me, and that's why I always had a problem with the Coke or Pepsi mentality in American politics as well, which has become actually a global phenomenon these days. I'm always uncomfortable with this two-party system where you have to be one or the other, Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal.
I'm independent.
Exactly. So what I think is a lot of the sentiment you're expressing actually, the kind of responsibility that we feel to take care, and to care for our fellow human beings. To me, that's a universal. That's not the property of one political ideology or another. As Ali was saying, to me, that's part of being a man and being a human being.
I-
To take care of people around you who need you,
No matter what color they are.
no matter what political position they hold.
I
no matter what kind of
I
background they
hated
come from.
9/11. I'm more American than American, but let me tell you something, because we're not white, like 100%. Maybe my legs, yeah, but I have the Israeli arms, but they're always tan. It was uncomfortable, man. I didn't experience it, but I saw other experience it because they look Mediterranean. They've been profiled,
Right.
which I found it bullshit. I said, what?
I've had
And
I've had that
I
experience,
blame it
and
on
still
Bush. I blame it on him.
I've had that experience more so when I was on the other end of the country, more so when I was on the East Coast. So I do believe there is something different in California. Of course, I have faced some of that here too, but much less compared to how it was in New York, to be honest. So I am surprised by how things are more relaxed here. But I do want to address a couple of things in the chat. Saad says, you look like Karl Lagerfeld here. Even he had a better hairline, but thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But yes, one of my eyes is actually
Bloodshot.
messed up, so that's why I'm wearing it. It's not a gimmick. It's not really an article of style. Just out of kindness to my audience. Um, Thank you. This is a motorcycle shop, Saad, and hopefully towards the end, I'll give you a little show. And I want to get a patch. I couldn't actually find it in a drugstore, if you can believe it. I might just have to go to like a Halloween or custom store and get a pirate patch.
I think it'll be great.
For the next. And I can be like not Karl Lagerfeld, but like Moshe Dayan or something.
So yeah, I totally disagree with it. Middle Eastern people, if anything, they're the nicest, warmest, family-oriented people that for some reason it got lost here, and Middle Eastern people are bad people. That's bullshit. Um, my Some of my best friends here are Arabs from Lebanon and Iraq, and like on the map we're enemies, but here we're best of friends.
Of course.
And I'm like, enough. And I think the next stop here in America will be the Middle Eastern issue, that they should be accepted like everybody else. Um, if anything, to teach
No,
people.
and each time, like you said, each time we deal honestly with these issues of difference and diversity, each time we deal with these issues, that's supposedly our minority problems, we are tackling a much larger issue. Because again, in those hateful acts that have responded to the tragedy that happened on 9/11, you know, a lot of different kinds of people were targeted just because they looked like the quote unquote enemy, right? A lot of Sikh men, for example, because of the way they wear their turbans, were targeted. So the other side of the coin,
SICK?
Sikh, SIKH.
KH.
But yeah, what I'm saying is, when on the flip side of it, when we deal with these problems honestly, it ends up actually tackling the prejudices against more than one group, right? You know, so it's not the problem of just people who are from the Mediterranean, from the Eastern Mediterranean, who are Middle Eastern, etc. It's our problem. I mean, not because the two of us are from there and we look like our Middle Eastern brothers, but because that's an issue that affects more than one community. That's an issue that affects us as Americans and as the human community.
Of course. And that should stop. And I think it started with Obama. And now I understand.
The way we deal with it in a positive way. You
In
mean,
a very positive way. I mean, it's fascinating. And I am blessed to understand it because I didn't understand it before. I'll tell you why. Because I was trying to be somebody I'm not. I didn't know what it means to be an American. I mean, I thought being an American, okay, I'm a patriot and I have to be them. No. You're a taxpayer, you're an American. Bottom line.
And you know, I guess it comes again to acting, right? You know, acting is not trying to be someone else, right?
Exactly.
This is something that you keep saying, and our common friend James keeps telling me too. It's not trying to be someone else.
James who?
James Chalk.
Oh,
of course,
James
the great
greatest James Chalk. James is a good actor. I like James. I like consistency. That's James. That's where people can learn a lot from him.
By the way, guys, hopefully James is usually here on Sunday, but I think he felt that maybe I want this to be a two-way conversation. That's couldn't be further from the truth. So hopefully, if we can turn this into something of a regular thing,
oh, it'd be great.
You'll most certainly meet James soon enough.
So yeah, basically, I like the new win. I like the way things are going. I like the relaxation, which is very important. I don't want to hear another boy wearing a hoodie getting shot down.
Of course not.
By the cops. I can't stand it. I think it's disgusting, and they should not be so easy on the trigger.
Of course.
Because somewhere that boy has a mother that loves him. He might be derailed, he might be do some bad stuff, but you don't need to shoot him down.
No, I mean, same. You know, of course, same things. Same thing goes for the person, you know, who is the policeman, the police in the situation, the cop. But of course, you know, again, this is cheesy when you just say it, but you know, with that kind of authority comes a grave responsibility, right? When you are actually in charge of that situation, as someone who represents the law, of course, you have a greater responsibility than the person
Remember
whom you
the
are targeting.
remember the scene we did. Remember the scene we did from Heat when I told you you're the cop.
Right.
So you are being backed up by the system, and that's why you'll be going to be a bit cocky about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Still go for this. Hold on one second.
Hello. Hi. We can order it for you, man. We don't. What are you writing? So go to O'Reilly's.
Do you need
Go ahead.
anything else done, or
Huh?
do you need anything else done?
We're done?
I took stuff from the
Can you stop by tomorrow?
I couldn't tell you.
No, just on the way back.
The practice ends for me at 6:36.
Okay.
So you might be close.
So stop by this week. Okay?
Everything's done here, Lucas?
We're
Nice
good,
to see
brother.
you.
No, let me have it.
Take care.
Thank you, kid. See you later. Text it to me. Text it to me.
Text me your phone number.
No, you text me your phone number. What's wrong with you, kid?
Yeah, I have your phone number.
You do? Okay, so just text me your number.
You need to save my contact.
I will. Just text me.
Have a good Sunday, man.
Bye, kid. We encountered a few attacks here on the shop when we thought it was the neighborhood. Nevertheless, we found out who's instigating everything. But going back to the new policy of how things are rolling in town right now, city officials, cops, building and safety, they all attacked us. But each and one of them was on our side and helping us through.
By the way, I want to show them a few more interesting
it.
things from the store, and since we're talking about America so much, this flag. Tell us about this flag a little bit.
That's Steve McQueen's.
Yeah, tell us what.
Well, I went to visit his hangar in Santa Pola, and there was a guy who bought the hangar, and he still has some stuff from Steve McQueen's era. So I saw the flag. I said, "I like this flag." He said, that was Steve McQueen's flag," and I said, "I'll take it." So I bought it, and it stays here. I don't know who called. Oh, it's such an old flag. I said, "Yeah, it's probably since 1978."
It's amazing.
Here we have this is Omaha.
Let me see if I can, because of course my phone went out of battery, but we can bring the.
I ordered this size a photo. This is 1944, June 6th, Omaha, the Normandy battle. I always look at that photo and I'm thinking youngsters, probably 19 years old, 18 years old.
Mhm.
Some of them never made it to the shore. They got shot down by the Nazis. So I put a plaque here. I can't see without my glasses. There's a plaque on the wall,
Yeah.
which is a dedication to this generation.
Maybe
and
I
this-
can read it.
Yeah,
While you pick up your glasses.
this whole shop is dedicated to that. So when you read it, you see what it says.
It says, "This establishment is wholly dedicated to the memory of our heroes who fought and defeated the Nazi war machine by paying the ultimate price. June 6th, 1944.
Yep. So that's a dedication. And then here we have a dedication plaque to the Vietnam fallens. 58,479 kids died in that war. A whole generation that got wasted in that bloody war. that I never understood. And mind you, the kids that stayed here, that didn't fought the war, died from abusive use of drugs. So a whole generation went down the toilet.
A lost generation.
A very, lost generation. Um, so
You have some beautiful apparel there. I wanna.
Yeah, these are all unique jackets that I purchased uh, that marked the era of the second generation of Indian motorcycles that lasted exactly from 1999 to 2003. So that's actually an original Indian jacket that was as part of the inventory we have here. Uh, Here we have the limited production of the Terminator jacket.
Oh, T3. Well, don't you have like several bikes that were
I have the
used in the
motorcycle. I have the motorcycle Arnold rode in Terminator 3, the police bike.
amazing?
I own it. I have it. Here we have another Indian motorcycle jacket that was made for the
So
anniversary.
you said they ceased production in the 50s. When did they come back?
1999 was the second generation.
Okay.
And it lasted 4 years maybe. They messed up on the engine components. They were trying to revive the Power Plus motor, and they used Chinese components. So that motor was short-lived, and it put him in a huge deficit. So they bankrupt.
I mean, the reason I'm saying oh no is because what makes them so unique and distinct is that they are handmade and American made.
Absolutely.
So to mix components that are imported from another country,
They
into
shot
that is
themselves in the
already,
leg. Yeah.
It's symbolically it's wrong.
Yeah, but they're doing it now with Harleys and Indians, and there's no more. Here we have the folded flag to
Let's see if I get the saddle.
to honor the fallen ones. And this case here contains of very unique items.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, where this is the Still Buffalo Cigars. This is again a GTX Castrol oil case from McQueen's inventory. And then
you're serious about this collection.
Very. Okay, I closed it, but
It's okay.
there's another relic here from 1911, an Indian part. And when I sold the truck, I took the getaway Steve McQueen plate out.
Okay.
So it stays here. Now the truck is back
until it comes back.
Yeah. That's the white buffalo right here. And the native believes that this is the Messiah. This is who's going to come and save the world. The white buffalo and his, what do you call it? Squaw. The Indian princess. One day. And that's their belief in the Messiah. This will represent my favorite movies and things in life. So Predator is pretty much one of my top favorite movies. On any Sunday, it's a documentary from the 1970s that was about the dirt bikers, which McQueen actually produced, gave the money. This is one of McQueen's famous shots. And this is McQueen's last movie, The Hunter, which was a great movie, and he passed away shortly after.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, Black Rain by Ridley Scott, probably my favorite movie with Michael Douglas. Again, it's because it resembles your point of views and how you run your shift in life. Then Rocky, of course. And Elvis, that's more of a tribute to James Chalk. He loves Elvis. So I put Elvis there. I love Elvis, but
No one loves Elvis
more
as
than
much
James.
as James
Yeah.
Chalk. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a racer, a 50cc racer. Actually won the race and blew up a motor. Hand built, welded. This is a scooter from the Le Mans pit stop. We brought it from France.
With the Gulf livery on
Everything,
it.
and the color scheme, everything.
Amazing.
Yeah. This bike here is from Training Day with Denzel Washington.
Okay.
One of the Hood guys were riding it when Denzel was going in with his Monte Carlo, and he was just cutting him with this bike. That's our work. That's what we do. That's our paint job. I'm going to put it on one of the Indians. It's all autographed and numbered. And here, there's a Flying Merkle, also hand built. And this is the Le Mans motorized bike. And here, this is Henrik. I don't know why we gave him a German name. Achilles gave him a German name. Here is the White Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, that's a fully customized
Yeah,
Indian motorcycle that you're building for a customer.
in Canada.
To the tune of what you said? What was the commission worth, if you feel comfortable saying it?
It's about 100 grand, this bike.
So probably going to be the most
Expensive Indian of that
motorcycle.
era. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's worth every dime. It has 200 horsepower in it. All handmade leather, handcrafted.
With the gold accents.
Everything.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And now we're waiting on the wheel forever now. This is a 1944 Indian Scout that we built from nuts and bolts. It belongs to a customer. My pride and joy is this on this bike is the brass caps.
Oh, wow.
It didn't look like it. It was so dirty and stained, and it took like a certain process to bring it back to that color, and also clear coated so the color stays
Amazing.
like that. Over here you have a certified Disney bicycle from 1963.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, exactly.
You-
My dad did a number on me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you couldn't get away from the Mickey Mouse either.
Good, I had to.
Even in your shrine to the King of the Cool.
I had to. You know.
Could you also show us the 41 World War II? This is
a 1941 battle bike. They actually fought with this bike, but it was also a medical bike. So the beauty of this, mind you, the clutch is not on the handlebar. It's in the bottom. So you clutch, shift like a car, and shoot your gun. I mean, you got to be a very special person to do all three things at once. I'm telling you one thing, trying to do it, you're going to end up on a tree. So basically,
which reminds me of James Chalk again.
James Chalk ended up on a tree riding a Ducati. So it's a relic from 1941.
So that's an Indian Scout from 1941, World War II
741.
era. Actually used on the front?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No bullshit.
Is that the numbers for
These
that?
authentic numbers? Yeah. Look what I got here.
Oh, the actual helmet that goes with that? Wow. And even that has
I don't know. That's we put it on, but
Yeah.
But that look how heavy this helmet is. You understand what they were carrying on their head?
Yeah, and that doesn't even begin to describe the emotional and symbolic weight that they were carrying, of course, on that front.
I think Steven Spielberg showed it the best with Saving Private Ryan, the opening scene in Normandy. I mean, you feel like you're there. I mean, that's exactly what happened. You know. But yeah, it looks a little crowded, but we are moving stuff to the other shop.
That's okay. It's you know, I know James has been telling me that how it looked when it first opened, which had that museum atmosphere. But like you said, it also needs to be a business to support that. But now that you are branching out, now that you're opening these other locations,
Yeah,
this will be your showpiece. This will be your
headquarters,
showcase, the
showcase.
headquarters.
And this is my bike. That's what I'm riding.
Nice.
They call it Brooks Nightmare. It's a giant, and the sound on it is on freaking believable.
And it also has a plaque.
Yep.
Let me see if I can capture that. It says, of course, in dedication to Steve McQueen, the American flag right there as well.
And this is the helmet I used to race with.
Ah,
This is my helmet.
which says again, Steve McQueen,
All Steve McQueen.
bullet.
Yeah. Pretty beat up. Great helmet. I think my head grew bigger since.
In more ways than one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically this is it, man. It's another handmade bike.
Wow.
And here we have our cigar humidor. The reason we're low on inventory because James smokes them all.
And me, we have
Yeah.
been freeloading on this guy for quite a while. So
But yeah, that's we have everything, and yeah, we're out of the Still Buffalo ones. They're done. We're getting a new shipment.
yes, the first box is in my name, as you know, and
That's a space heater.
That's the space heater that we were.
That was in
talking
Steve
about.
McQueen's house in Santa Paula.
Yeah.
I went to an auction set next to Bo Derek, I think,
Uh-huh.
and I bought it. And then I bought his hat, and somebody stole my hat. That hat cost me so much money, and it's gone.
Yeah, and you need it. You need it. You know,
not
with
here
your
anymore.
receding hairline,
Yeah,
you certainly need something to cover it.
you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. That's our certifications and everything.
Yeah, beautiful. And Adi, of course, whom we were talking about earlier, his late nephew is right there as well, watching over us.
That was the day he passed away, by the way. He sent me a photo and he says, "Where are you? Why are you not coming to see me?" I came out of the hospital. That night he passed away. His dog now is with my brother, Leo. So we still have the dog. Yeah.
Zichrono livracha.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great. I think Steel Buffalo Motors is going to be a brand.
It is a brand already.
Yep.
It's going to just get bigger. And
Get bigger, yeah.
And guys, we are so happy to be finally broadcasting from here. I thank you all for being with me. Thank you, Ali, for the super chat as well. All the new members that we have gained before and during this broadcast. I really appreciate you all, everyone who dropped by as well. for this beautiful conversation, smoking cigars, drinking coffee, and just talking
Perfect.
with friends. Hopefully, we will be able to make this into a regular thing, and I look forward to that.
Awesome.
And I'm proud to be, as you guys know, every day and not just on Sundays, to be powered by Steel Buffalo Motors.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Beautiful.